Super Bowl is a very big day in sports. Football is the greatest sport, and the Super Bowl is the greatest game of the greatest sport, so it's a pretty big day. But really, the goal of sports is not the ball. Really, the goal of sports is to watch professionals compete at an incredibly high level, to learn lessons that we can glean from them and apply it to our lives. Like, just the game is okay. But really, the lessons that's the takeaway. And when you watch a game like the Super Bowl, you will see incredible lessons that you can put into your life to be better immediately. I want to share with you one. You will notice in this game an incredible amount of encouraging. Watch closely. Every time somebody messes up, almost every time this happens, a quarterback throws a pick. A defensive back misses a tackle. The defense gives up a touchdown. A wide receiver is wide open, and he drops the pass. Almost every single time, watch what happens. The camera will pan on that player after the play is over when they're back on the sidelines, and you will see the same thing happen. Somebody is encouraging them. Defense comes back. The captain's probably walking up and down the sidelines, pumping them up. Come on, we got this. Let's go. Quarterback throws a pick. The defensive coordinator's patting his helmet. Head coach is patting him. You got this. Don't worry. You got this. Wide receiver drops a pass. His fellow receivers are on the sidelines talking in his ear. What is going on? Everywhere you look. Huddle here, huddle there, pregame, halftime. Everywhere you look, you will see both sides and everyone just pumping each other up the whole game. I don't get something. These are professional athletes. This is the Super Bowl. You think anyone's not motivated to catch a pass? You think there's one player going like, I don't know. Should I run the route tight? Should I not run it tight? You think there's a defensive back going like, should I make this tackle? It's going to be hard. The guy's really, really big. He's coming at me pretty quick. What is with this constant need of encouragement and pump up? Like, what is going on? Just let them just play. You're professionals. I want to share with you a concept in Yiddishkeit. I heard this from a Rav named Moshe Levi. He speaks about this a lot. I saw this later on in a sefer called Biyam Darkecha from Itchermeyer Morgenstern. And I'm going to read to you inside in his piece on Simcha. He quotes Rav Chaim Vital from the Shari Kedush. I want to read you this. Listen to these words. Ha'atzvos, sadness. Goremes minias ha'avod v'kiyum ha'mitzvos. It leads to the blocking, the holding back, the failure, if you will, of avoda, of kiyum ha'mitzvos, of doing mitzvahs and avodas Hashem. Ubitul esek haTorah v'kavanas hatfila. Sadness causes us to not daven and learn and do mitzvahs. It blocks our avodas Hashem. Mevatel machshava tova lavodas Hashem. It blocks from the good thought to serve Hashem. V'hi shar haschalas gru hasasas hayetzer hara. It's the beginning of the Yetzer Hara. Sadness is what lets in the Yetzer Hara. V'gam gorem asiluk ruach hakodesh me'alav. It takes away ruach hakodesh. V'hefech, and the opposite. B'yoso oved Hashem yizbarach b'simcha. If you serve Hashem b'simcha. K'mo shekasuv ivdu Hashem b'simcha. Ki hasimcha mosifa cheshech. The simcha leads to the desire, rav, av, and the love, listabek bo bisparach, to connect to Hashem. That's why it says in the pasuk in Devarim, tachas asher lo avaz Hashem b'simcha, because you didn't serve Hashem b'simcha b'tuv levav. Ki avoda im hi bi'atzvon. If somebody serves Hashem with sadness, dome le'evid ha'ovid le'rabo b'fanim atzvos v'zofos. It's like you're serving a master with a down face. What is this thing about simcha? What is so powerful about happiness? It sounds like happiness is the key to avodas Hashem. How does that work? Let's go back to the field. Maybe we can understand this together. Why is it that they're constantly encouraging the guy that drops the pass? Wouldn't you think when he gets off the sideline, someone should be like, can you pay more attention? Don't catch and run. Catch and then run. Right? Don't you think the coach should tell the quarterback, What are you throwing the ball so quickly for? Relax in the pocket. Wait for the offense to open up. Because when you're playing at the highest level they get, that happiness isn't what happens from the play. Happiness is what causes the play. Happiness isn't the manifestation of success. Happiness is the catalyst of success. When you're playing at a level that high, when you're playing against a defense that good, if you're not walking in excited, if you're not walking in encouraged, you have no shot. You have no chance. You come in sad, upset, frustrated, you're still thinking about the pass from 5 plays ago. You're worried if you're going to win the game. You're thinking of anything that's not excitement. You have no chance. You need the excitement. You need the encouragement to play at that level. We don't get about Avodas Hashem. Now, in Avodas Hashem, happiness is not like getting in a good mood. That is, but it's more like believing in Hashem and knowing Hashem's with you and feeling satisfied with Him. For many of us, there are parts of Judaism just doesn't taste good. We get more excited about watching a game than going to a shiur. Why? Because maybe what we're waiting for is for the Avodas Hashem to bring us the happiness. Maybe it's backwards. Maybe our happiness is what brings us to Avodas Hashem. Maybe the way it's supposed to work is when you walk into anything related to Avodas Hashem, when you go to daven, or learn, or do a chesed, or be nice to somebody, or go see your spouse, or your kids, or your parents, whatever it is, when you're about to do anything for Hashem, before you walk in there, you realize, wait, to be successful at this, to feel the joy of depth, of meaning, of purpose, why is it that just watching other people on a TV, why is that bringing me happiness? Why don't I have happiness at my Judaism? Maybe it's because when I'm about to do something, I don't make myself happy. I don't get excited. I don't encourage each other. And because I don't get excited, I got no chance. I'm up against the real defense. I'm up against the Sahara. This is a game. This isn't going to go away. I'm fighting for eternity. I got a good defense against me. I got no shot if I don't go in happy. Maybe what's missing is that we don't walk into our time with God happy, pumped, excited. We don't encourage each other. We walk around about this and that. We drag our life and we have to do Judaism. And so Judaism is tasteless. But if we get to do Judaism, if we pump ourselves up before the play, if we're about to put on tefillin and we say to ourselves, I'm about to bind myself to Hashem, if we're about to learn, if I'm about to connect to the letter of God, if we're about to do chesed, if we're about to do something, we take a minute and pump ourselves up to the excitement of what I'm about to do, maybe we'll be more successful. Watch the game. They know it. But the Shari Kedusha and all the tzaddikim know it too. Rabbi Nachman, mitzvah gdolah is b'simcha tamid. Try it for 1 week this week. Before you do one mitzvah, 1 week, one mitzvah, take 1 second and pump yourself up. Get excited for the mitzvah. Get excited for the tefillah. Get excited for the Torah. And then see how it feels. Bring the simcha. And watch how much it can bring you in real success, not just football success. We're talking about nitzchias success, Hashem success, which is the real game that we're playing.
I'm deeply grateful to the officers of Chazaq for giving me the great opportunity to speak to all of you on this halftime show. I would like to tell you a story that Rav Shalom Shvadron, the Maggid of Yerushalayim, told me happened to him in the late 1940s. After the creation of the State of Israel, there was such happiness in Israel, and many of the kids felt so free and they were so sports-minded. And every night they would be out playing soccer and doing very happy things for themselves. But Rav Shalom Shvadron was a young man then. Together with others, they made certain classes so that these boys would be able to study Torah at night. And there was one boy, let's call him Chesky, and Chesky came for 3 weeks in a row. Every night he came, and then suddenly he stopped coming. So the first night, Rav Shalom didn't think much of it. The second night, not. But then he began getting worried at third night. When he saw that the boy didn't come, he thought maybe he's not well. So he went to his house to see if he's okay. And Chesky answered the door. And he said, Chizkiah, are you all right? Because you've been coming for the last 3 weeks, and suddenly you haven't been there. He said, Rebbe, I'll tell you the truth. You know, there's a tournament going on, a football tournament. Now, of course, in Eretz Yisrael, they called soccer football. And I love to play soccer or football. And there's a tournament going on, and I want to watch it. So it's on this week. Next week, I'll surely come. So Rab Shalom said, could you explain to me what the idea of soccer is? And Chizkiah was kind of surprised that a man who grew up in Eretz Yisrael didn't understand what soccer was. He said, I'll tell you what it is. He says, you see, you have two teams, and there's somebody that has to kick a ball into a goal, which is surrounded by a net. And if you kick it into the net, then, of course, you score the goal. So Rab Shalom asked, well, you said that there's a goalie there, somebody who's there, but is he there all day and all night? He said, no, he's not there all day and all night. He's only there during the game. He said, come here, let me show you something. Let's go out there. You'll see. I'll be able to kick 20 goals in a row into that net, into that goal. And the boy laughed. He said, Rebbe, if you're going to go there when there's no goalie, what's the big deal? Anybody can do that. The whole idea is that there's a challenge. And there's a goalie, and you got to kick the ball past the goalie. Because otherwise, there's no challenge. There's no gain to it. And Rab Shalom said, my child, listen to what you just said. You just said that if there's no challenge, there's no accomplishment. You're right. So next week when you come, there's no challenge because there's no tournament. For you to come this week, that's like the goalie standing in your way and you're able to kick the goal in. When you come, even during the week of the tournament, you're overcoming that challenge. And then the boy smiled and he realized what the Rebbe was trying to teach him. And of course, the next night, he did come. And the reason that I tell you all this is because overcoming challenges are very important in life. And we all are beset by challenges. So how do you overcome a challenge? Well, the first thing is, you have to learn from others, you have to have a plan, and you have to know that challenges are part of life. They're not impediments to life, but they're essential because they help us overcome adversity. Now, even though you're watching now the football game, the Lions, when they were in the National Football Championship, they had to overcome a challenge. It didn't look like a difficult challenge. They were ahead 24-7 at halftime. That they failed. They didn't overcome that challenge. And San Francisco was able to overcome that challenge. You know what? Because they learned from others. Because back in 2017, Tom Brady showed that even in the greatest games, you can overcome a deficit. They were losing by 25 points, the Patriots, against Atlanta, and Brady was able to bring him back. So that showed you could learn from others that even at difficult times, if you got a plan and you're determined and you have that courage to face the opposition, you overcome the challenge. And that's what the 49ers did, and that's why they're playing this Super Bowl. But there's something else I want to tell you. If you watch a football game, you'll see there's a formation. There's the quarterback, there's the left tackle, the left guard, the right tackle, the right guard, the wide receiver, the running back. Everybody's got to be in a special place so that the quarterback, when he gets the ball from the center, he knows what to do with it. Whether he's going to give it to the running back or he's going to throw it to the wide receiver. And the tackles, they have to be up front to block. I want to tell you about another formation. Do you know that there's a formation when you daven Shemon Esrei? You're supposed to stand with your feet together. Now, I know there's some people who stand so wide with their feet together, you could kick a field goal between their feet. That's not how you daven Shemon Esrei. And I'll show you what it says in Shulchan Aruch. And you'll be amazed what Rab Moshe Feinstein adds to that. In Siman Tzadik Hey, Sif Aleph, it says, Yechavein Raglov Zeh Eitzel Zeh. You got to have your feet together, like one. Ki'ilu einam ela echad, as if they're one. Just like the Malachim, the Pasuk says, their feet are like one. That means that not only the heels have to be together, but the toes have to be together. Some people stand like a triangle. That's wrong. And let me explain to you why. See, the Kaf HaChaim explains that when you are standing Shemoneh Esrei, you got to be totally focused on Hashem. But if you look like you're ready to run away, and if you've got your feet only at the end together, you could start walking right away. But if you got your feet together, straight, toes and heel, you're focused totally on what you're saying. You're totally focused on Hashem. And you know what Rabbi Moshe writes? Rabbi Moshe writes in Orach Chaim Chelek Hey Siman Lamed Ches Ois Hey. He says, if you see somebody at the Amid, even if his father davened that way, even if his Rebbe that way, don't let him daven that way. Because you got to have that formation. That formation as one foot standing directly towards Hashem. So there is a formation to daven Shemoneh Esrei. Let's learn that the only successful football teams are those who keep the formation the way they want to and according to plan. And this is our plan. I give all of us the bracha that Hashem should answer our tefillas l'toiv as we focus directly on Hashem, and Hashem should focus to give us what we need in life. Thanks so much.
Since 2006, Chazaq has inspired thousands of people via its numerous life-changing programs.
From little children
to teenagers,
from men
to women,
from yeshiva students to young rabbis,
and everyone in between.
Chazaq touches them all, educating, inspiring, and guiding thousands throughout the year.
I'm going to answer for you today everything about life, why the world was created, and why you were put on this earth. I know it sounds so big, but I'm going to put it down in 4 questions. And we're going to help get the answer through football. Question number 1, why did Hashem create the world? The answer is because he wanted to do good. And so Hashem created human beings in order to do good to those human beings. Question number 2, where is that good? It can't be that the good is on this earth because, I don't know, look at life. There's so much pain. There's so many people that have emotional struggles, financial struggles, spiritual struggles. You can't say that this world is all good and this world is pretty all for the good. So the answer is that the good is really in the next world. So Hashem created the world in order to do good. And that good is in the next world. So here comes the 3rd question. So why'd you put us in this world? Why don't you just put us straight in the next world? If you created just to do good and all the good is there, just put us straight there. And here's the answer to that question. And here's my point here today. Today is Super Bowl Sunday. Almost the entire country is focused on the Super Bowl. 2 teams, the Chiefs playing the 49ers, and everyone's captured by the game. What is the goal of the game? The goal of the game is to win the Lombardi Trophy. Everybody plays to win the Lombardi Trophy. It's a huge deal. When the Super Bowl ends, there's one team that's going to be victorious and they're going to pull out the Lombardi Trophy and they bring it out on the field and everyone goes nuts. They pull out the red carpet and they start bringing it out and each person, every player on the team can't wait. They touch it. They're kissing it. They're holding it. They're touching it. The whole thing is about the Lombardi Trophy. I have a great idea. I looked it up. The Lombardi Trophy cost $10,000 to make. The value of the Lombardi Trophy is $10,000. Here's my thought. Why don't we forget all the nonsense? Let's just make 32 Lombardi Trophies. It'll cost $320,000. The NFL can make $320,000 in 1 second. 1 second of the Super Bowl commercial. 1 second. The commercial goes $7 million for 30 seconds. They can make $320 in 1 second. Let's make 32 trophies in July. And we'll go to every training camp and we'll just deliver a trophy. We'll go to San Francisco, give them a trophy. We'll give Kansas City a trophy. We'll even deliver a trophy to Detroit, those poor people. Even the Jets will give them a trophy. We'll go to both teams in New York. We'll go to LA. We'll go to San Francisco. We'll go everywhere there is. We'll give trophies. Tampa Bay, we'll give them a trophy. Everywhere you'd like. Let's give everybody a trophy. We'll do it. You imagine how much hassle you would save?
Give everyone a trophy in August. You'd have no injuries. You'd have no coaches getting fired. You'd have no agita of horrible defeats. Just get the whole thing's 10 grand. Give every single team a Lombardi trophy in August and you'll save all of the headache. The answer is obvious. There's no point in the Lombardi trophy just for the Lombardi trophy. It's just a $10,000 object. It's not a big deal. And the whole point of the Lombardi trophy is because it's earned. It's because we went through a whole off season and figuring out which players are going to be on the team and signing free agents and making trades and drafting players and hiring coaches and all the various different coaches. There's like dozens of coaches on each team. And then we went through practices throughout the summer and some people got injured in practices. Some people were demoted in practice. Some people were cut from the team. And then it was week 1 and they played hard and there was a defeat. And then in week 2, there was a victory. And then week 3, they came from behind. And it was intense. And 2 players were put on the injured list for the rest of the year. Another player was cut from the team. It's intense. Each week is intense. And each week as you win and you win and you win and you win. And now you make it to the playoffs and you make it to the first round and the second round. And you make it to the championship Sunday. And now you're at the Super Bowl. You win the Super Bowl. That's what gives the Lombardi trophy its value. It's not valuable just because it's a $10,000 trophy. It's valuable because of all of the work, the intensity, the pain, and the difficulty that it took to achieve it. That's what makes the players go, they can't breathe from it because they know how much work it took to achieve it. Hashem says the same thing. I created the world to do good. The main good is in the next world. So why don't you just put us straight in the next world? Because there would be no joy in the next world if we didn't earn it first in this world. It would be like getting a Lombardi trophy in August. It wouldn't mean anything. So that's why instead Hashem puts us on this earth where it's hard and it's difficult and there's life's a battle and there's ups and downs. There's victories and there's defeats. There's cuts. There's times there's sort of injuries, so to speak. There are times that you feel like you're on the sideline. There are times that you feel like you're going through a losing streak. And then other times you feel like going through a winning streak. Life is tough. But when you get through that tough, the reward in the world to come is incredible. So just like it makes no sense to give a Lombardi trophy in August and it has no value, it makes no sense to put someone's soul straight in Olam Haba, straight in the world to come, because it would have no value and have no joy. So there's one fourth question. So why can't we just see what Olam Haba would look like? Imagine if I could just have for 5 minutes, just give me a little window. I'll go up against the window. I'll stick my nose up the window and let me see what's going on there. Wouldn't it make life so much easier? Wouldn't it make it so much easier to focus on what's right in this world? The answer is it would make it so much easier. It would make it so much easier if you saw the world to come and you saw the reward and you saw the joy that was in that reward and you saw how happy it was. Life over here wouldn't be a challenge anymore. There'd be no test. Because for sure you would do what's right. If that's the reward, for sure you would do what's right. It wouldn't be hard. Like if I told you every time you make a beracha on a cup of water, there's a $100 bill underneath. Would that ever be a test? And you saw the $100 bill right underneath the cup. Pick up the cup of water, make a beracha, take the 100. Would you ever not say a beracha? You'd always say a beracha because the reward is so clear. It makes the reward so easy. It makes it not a challenge. So Hashem says, I created this world to do good. That's the answer to question number 1. Where is the real good? Not in this world, although there's a lot of joy in this world, but the real joy is in the next world. That's the answer to question number 2. So why don't you just put us straight in the next world? The answer to that is because the joy of the next world is only happens once it's earned. And then question number 4 is why can't I just see the next world? The answer is if once you would see it, there would be no test in trying to achieve it. The whole test is in the fact that I don't see it. I don't know what it is. I'm not sure. How good is the next world? It's going to be unbelievable. It's going to be unbelievable. I believe it is, but that feeling is what makes the test. My point here today is this. If you look around at your life and you feel like there's challenges, there's difficulty, you feel like there's things in your life and you're like, what am I dealing with? The answer is you're earning your trophy. If your life is incredibly easy, then your trophy won't mean much. That's why I've yet to meet someone who could say they have an easy life. I've yet to meet a person with an easy life, because Hashem puts in front of every single one of us, He makes obstacles. He makes it that you have to sometimes throw a 20-yard pass in life. Sometimes you have a 3rd and 15, and somehow you have to make it. Somehow you have to come up with a play to get a first down. That's what life is. Sometimes you're first and goal, and the defense is incredibly tough, and somehow you have to get through it. That's what life is like. Life sometimes is tough and it's difficult. It can be tough with you. It can be tough with your marriage, your children. And you're like, why is it so hard? It's so hard because it's supposed to be so hard, so that one day when you get to Olam Haba, your trophy will be meaningful. So when the Lombardi trophy comes out, the winning team is going to go crazy for it, because they're going to know how hard it was to get it. One day you're going to go to Olam Haba. And when that day comes, the reward is going to be so intense and so incredible. And you look back and you say, all the challenges I went to, it's so worth it, because I earned the trophy. Thank you.
It's a very powerful story for me. It's obviously so personal. It's part of me, of my family, of everything.
Shlomi Gertner was just 21 years old when his wife was rushed to the hospital, where she gave birth to their second daughter.
I went home a little later to take care of my older daughter, and I get a call a few hours later, rush back to the hospital as soon as possible. I didn't have a clue I didn't know what to think. And I made my way back, and there was the consultant in the room giving me a whole lecture explaining what has happened to Malka.
During childbirth, there was a lack of oxygen to the brain, and his daughter will never be able to speak, to walk, and will have difficulty seeing.
And everything just came crumbling down. The world, suddenly everything seemed so different. What has just happened here? How do I continue from here?
Shlomi decided he needed more, he needed Chazaq. So he traveled to Israel, and he wanted to get a bracha from his Rebbe, the Yeshua Moshe, the Vizhnitzer Rebbe, Reb Moshe from Vizhnitz in Bnei Brak.
And I said, Rebbe, I'm not asking for miracles here. I'm just asking, Rebbe, give me a blessing that my wife and we should be able to continue a family life, a happy life, and this shouldn't be the burden that is always an obstacle that we always reflect on, and we shouldn't be able to continue. And I remember the Rebbe taking my hand. He held my hand for a few minutes. He closed his eyes and he was just like shaking his head right to left. And he was davening, and he gave me that blessing, and I feel that was the blessing of a lifetime.
Right then and there, he was given the Chazaq. He walked out a different person. He came home, and him and his wife really rose to the challenge in incredible ways.
It was always difficult, but we did take it as that's what Hashem has given us, and that's how we continue life.
When Shlomi's daughter Malkala was 2 years old, he was giving her a bath, and Malkala was crying hysterically. She wouldn't calm down. Shlomi tried whatever he could. So finally, after 20 minutes, he took her out of the bath and he held her tightly and tried to calm her down by cradling her. And all of a sudden, Shlomi spontaneously started singing this song.
And I'm singing to Malki, oy Malka, oy Malki, oy Malki, Malkala. And I'm just over again, oy Malki, oy Malki, Malki, Malkala. And my wife comes rushing in from the other room and she says, you have to record that. Because Malka just stopped crying, she's listening and enjoying what you're singing to her. And it's just beautiful what you just sang.
Shlomi grabbed the recorder, he recorded Malkala, and this song became this father-daughter connection. Every night as Shlomi would put her to sleep and say the Shema, he would sing over and over and over again until she would fall asleep.
Oy Malka, oy Mal. Again, I just repeat and repeat this song the whole time.
A short while later, Shlomi was working on his first album, his debut album, Nissim, and he was sitting with Yossi Green in Yossi's house, and they were talking, brainstorming about different ideas for songs. And suddenly, Yossi looked at Shlomi and he said, Shlomi, tell me a little bit about your personal life.
So I tell Yossi, I've got this tune that I keep on singing. It's becoming, in my family, this has become the Malka song, but it's not a complete song. I just sing to her, Malka, oy Malka, oy Malki, Malka.
And immediately, Yossi went into a trance. He gets to his piano, and and he's working so hard, and his fingers are like all over the piano, pressing different keys for 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and after a half hour, Yossi Green jumps up and he says, I got it, thank you Hashem for another song.
And he starts singing, Kodesh Ilochem, Shabbos HaMalko, El Toich Boteichem. In your home, Lehuniyach Berocho, it should bring so much blessing. She should bring so much blessing. Every word in that song, it's written about Shabbos, but it's mamish connects to Malka. Kodesh Ilochem, Shabbos HaMalko, El Toich Boteichem, Lehuniyach Berocho. Oy 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 Malko, oy oy Malko, oy oy Malko, oy Malkele, oy 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 Malki, oy 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 Malko, oy 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 Malko, Malkele.
This particular song and Shlomi's story, the story behind the song, ended up inspiring so many thousands of people around the globe.
It's given us so much light and so much hope and so much simcha, and mostly it's given us a connection to our Malka. People said, Hashem doesn't give an Nisayon to someone who can't take it. And I never liked that statement. I must say I never connected to it because it's not true. If you asked me if I could take it, the answer would be no. It's not Hashem gives it to somebody who could take it. With a challenge, Hashem gives strength.
Every family comes with their set of challenges. And along with those challenges, Hashem sends us the tools to be able to deal with it, to cope with it. Which is why we say in Baruch She'amar, Baruch Gozer U'Mekayim. Thank you, Hashem, for decreeing those difficult gzeros, those challenges, but U'Mekayim for giving us the strength to sustain ourselves and to fulfill those gzeros and to rise to the challenge.
Everybody should find in his challenge the Malka song and sing about it and thank Hashem.